Hey everyone, it's been 7 days since my last video, and I must confess, even feminists are starting to doubt their own narrative. Hi everyone, I'm Diana Davison, and I've been asked by a lot of people to talk about the case of Brock Turner. This is a former Stanford University student who was arrested for and convicted of sexual assault on campus, and it was turned into a high-profile case. Actually, it was turned into a lot more. In the New Republic, Lisa Wade writes, "The hyper-masculine violence of Omar Mateen and Brock Turner. Two violent men, two symptoms of the same sickness." So here, Brock Turner is being compared to the Orlando shooter. Now, they complain that whenever a case of false rape allegations, and I say they meaning feminists, that men's rights activists or anti-feminists take that case and try to blow it into something out of proportion. So if they want to take a case of a person who was, I think, rightfully convicted of sexual assault and use that to claim that such a thing, a hyperbolic thing as rape culture exists, well, I'm going to throw at them some cases that nobody has really heard about that come from an organization that actually supports Title IX inquiries on campus. They advocate for either side, whichever one they think is correct, but they generally support the movement into consent culture, and they support the general feminist narrative about what sexual assault trials should be treated as. And this is what they had to say about what's going on campus today. From the NCHERM.org website, linked below. Our generation and generations before us fought from our very cores for the right of victims to be believed, to be treated with respect, and to receive acknowledgement of their basic dignity from seemingly callous educational institutions that championed male privilege by merely slapping rapists on the wrists, if they punished them at all. We've been instrumental in seeing hundreds, if not thousands, of victims vindicated through campus resolution processes, which is why we're so pained that while the last 20 years has brought transformation, we've now arrived at the destination only to find that today's students have wholly redefined sexual experience, as every generation does, without reference to the rules we wrote. How can we demand respect for a generation that at times seems not demand it from themselves, or at least demands it on very different terms than we did? To illustrate what we mean, we can use just some of the recent cases where our firm was asked to assist. Then they give a trigger warning. So these are real examples of cases that they were asked for advice on. A female student interviewed recently during an investigation had spread rumors by social media that she had been raped by a male student. When the rumors got back to the male student, he approached her about it, and she offered him a lengthy apology and then put it in writing. We had to investigate nevertheless, and she told us that they'd had a drunken hookup and that she consented to. She was fine with what happened. We asked her why she called it a rape then, and she said, "It's because we were drunk. It wasn't rape, it was just rapey rape." We asked her if she was aware of what spreading such an accusation might do to the young man's reputation, and her response was, "Everyone knows it wasn't really a rape, we just call it that when we're drunk or high. By the way, whomever popularized the term rapey deserves a special place in purgatory." And they have an article they link to for more on drunk sex, which is actually quite interesting. Another case. A female student alleged a campus sexual assault based on non-consensual oral intercourse. Her texts both before and after the incident with the alleged perpetrator state that she enjoys swallowing and, quote, "dirty boys who come in her mouth," unquote, all in reference to her actions with him. In her complaint that the oral sex was non-consensual, she informed the campus that she was appalled that he did not wear a condom. He insists it was consensual. We don't know that we'll ever know what happened, but we do know what can and can't be proven. As in, what part of swallowing involves a condom. A female student was caught by her boyfriend while cheating on him with another male student. She then filed a complaint that she had been sexually assaulted by the male student with whom she'd been caught cheating. The campus investigated, and the accused student produced a text message thread from the morning after the alleged assault. It read, "Him, how do I compare with your boyfriend? Her, you were great. Him, so you got off? Her, yes, especially when I was on top. Him, we should do it again, soon. Her, ha ha." A female student claimed multiple instances of sexual aggression, assault and coercion by her boyfriend over more than a year, but after making the complaint, she could not recall or provide any specifics of each instance in terms of location, time, or salient details. His corroborative evidence showed cooperation and even initiation by the complainant. A male student performed demeaning, degrading, and abusive sexual acts on a female non-student. They engaged in BDSM, and he ignored her protests throughout the entire sexual episode, despite her screaming in obvious pain and trying to get away from him. She filed a grievance with the campus, and we soon discovered instant messages in which she consented just before the incident to exactly these acts, and agreed to forego the use of a, quote, safe word, unquote, common in BDSM relationships. A female student accused a male student of sexual assault. When her complaint of sexual assault was heard by a campus panel, there was literally no evidence to support her complaint. He was found not responsible and decided not to press a complaint against her for a false allegation out of sensitivity to her serious mental health issues. Then she went around campus telling anyone and everyone that he'd raped her. The male student then filed a complaint against the female student for harassment. The female student then filed a complaint with the college for processing his complaint as an act of retaliation against her. In another recent case, a long-term relationship between two students involved many consensual sexual acts. The couple broke up. The male student started dating another student on campus, at which point the former girlfriend filed a complaint that there were non-consensual acts amongst many prior and subsequent consensual acts that they engaged in. Perhaps, but the timing is suspicious, and there's no evidence to suggest any concern about the behaviors during the time that they were dating. Again, there is often a chasm between what is alleged and what evidence is able to prove. They say, we could go on and on with a litany of these complicated and conflicting cases. We hate that some of them provoke tired, old victim-blaming tropes, such as the woman scorned and the cover-up of cheating. We hate even more that in a lot of these cases, the campus is holding the male accountable in spite of the evidence, or the lack thereof, because they think they're supposed to, and that doing so is what OCR wants. If you work on a college campus, we don't have to point out the complexity of the complaints we receive, but the public and the media need to understand that campus complaints are not as clear-cut as the survivors at Know Your Title IX would have everyone believe. So I think it's time to gather the stories of false accusations. There is a website, a really great website called Community of the Wrongly Accused. I'll put a link to that in the low bar for anyone who doesn't know about it. And I want to start collecting stories. I get contacted all the time by men and boys who've been falsely accused of sexual assault. And I haven't been able to help them all that much, but I can try to help them help others by collecting their stories and isolating out how these false allegations take place, the problem of what women are calling rape nowadays, and start doing some actual studies. I'm only one person, so I'm asking anyone who lives in Vancouver who is into doing some research with me, whittling down all of the findings and putting them together into something cohesive to contact me. And I will put my email in the low bar as well. And I want to put together a team of researchers. This will at some point be something we can expand into just people who aren't in Vancouver and would like to participate on the internet. I don't think it has to be just Canadian, but it's time for us to start putting together our own sexual theories and start putting together bodies of work that can be presented to the court to counter some of these so-called rape myths that are currently guiding the court systems. So that's what I'm up to. Also, yesterday I did a podcast for a show called The Wrecking Crew, and I'll put a link to that below. It was about an hour and 15 minutes of talking about the Ghomeshi Trial. So if you think this video is too short, you can go watch that one. So that's it for now, and email me and let me know what you can offer to participate in this. And also, for those people who've sent me their stories and I haven't been able to do anything with them yet, my resources time-wise are going to be increasing shortly. So reach out to me again and let's do something.